Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about the large intestine histology. Now you guys know from the previous videos the general organization of the large intestine, which is actually my epithelium. All right, so you have your epithelium followed by epithelial lining with the lamina propria and muscularis mucosae, followed by submucosa, and three of them are actually the mucosa, and then you have the submucosa, and then you have the muscularis externa, and then you have the last one, which is your serosa or adventitia, on whether you are in which parts of the large intestine. And so the general organization is just the same. The only thing is you get to see more of the lymphatic nodules and more frequently than in the small intestine, because now here you are moving away, you're getting out again to the external environment, so lymphatic nodules are going to be more. And in the stomach I had gastric juices, I had acids and things that will kill anything. But now when we get back to the large intestine, we don't have the contents that we had in the stomach and small intestine. So from the ileum to the appendix and large intestine, I get to see more of the lymphatic nodules, all right, in the lamina propria. Now, of course, we have everything the same as we talked about the previous parts of the GIT. I just want to have higher magnification. Hold on. Okay, so this is a high magnification. If you guys look at the large intestine, what makes it different than others is the numerous goblet cells. So remember that in the large intestine, the function is to transform this chyme into a feces that we can get it out of the body and absorb as much water as we can. So if you're doing that, at least you need lubrication to that feces to kind of help it to get propelled in the end of the alimentary canal, right? So I have a lot of goblet cells, and these are lining my intestinal crypts. Remember that we had gastric pits, yeah? These foldings, the foldings between the gastric glands themselves, all right? These kind of crypts or crypts. Here we call them intestinal crypts. All right, we have them here and in the small intestine. And if I have foldings, all right, if I have foldings, so the depression here, I call it gastric pit in the stomach, and I call it intestinal crypts in the small and large intestine, and sometimes the large intestine they call it colonic crypts. Okay, they are all lined by your columnar cells. So they are all lined by your columnar cells. So remember, we have foldings, and now you have an idea about the foldings that I have. Now here also we call them valves, and these are all the foldings of your epithelium, because you need to have so many cells, and you have a lot of goblet cells that are secreting mucus to lubricate the canal at that point itself. And these are all columnar cells. Okay, so and the core of these foldings are your lamina propria. Okay, and of course you know the general organization of the GIT by now. Let's get back to low magnification. You guys, here again you have your foldings of submucosa. So if you have a core of submucosa, these are the plica circularis. These are the folds themselves of the submucosa, and also you have mucosal folds, and these will give you the large intestinal glands themselves. And but they are not in a form of vellus, okay, and they have goblet cells. If they are not in a form of villi, it means they are not small intestine. If they are having a lot of goblet cells, it means they are large intestine. If they are not in a form of villi, and they don't have goblet cells, this is a stomach. Okay, so now you have an idea about the GIT starting from the stomach. You know that we have submucosal folds, you know that we have mucosal folds, and you know that if my mucosal folds form a shape of villi, it means I am in the small intestine. If my submucosal folds are not, the mucosal folds are not in a form of villi, so that could be a stomach, and it could be Large intestine. If they have a lot of goblet cells, can you guys see can you guys see how many empty spaces I have here for the goblet cells in the colonic crypts? Okay, can you guys see a lot of spaces for the goblet cells? It means this is the large intestine. Okay, now we are reaching a level that we are excluding the features of the other things to know how to identify between them, because now you guys know the difference. You guys know that this is a GIT. Somewhere in the GIT, I'm in the alimentary canal. But to differentiate between stomach, small intestine, and large intestine, this is how you need to think at this point. After listening to all my videos, this is how you need to think at this point. Now you know the general organization, you know the structure. This is how you differentiate between them after knowing all the information. Yeah, other than that, I want you to know that if you get to a low magnification, can you guys see? Remember when I told you in the introduction video that the tinea coli are actually modification of the outer longitudinal layer? This is just to relate to that information. Other than that, you have your submucosal folds, and in that you have also mucosal folds, and you know the core for this and the core for that. You get to see lymphatic nodules because you're getting out um, of the GIT, okay, and yeah, and now you know all these levels again. Here you have the your folds, the mucosal folds. You have your submucosa. You have your muscularis externa and the external longitudinal layer. It what forms the tinea coli. And once you see a lot of white circles for the goblet cells lining the colonic crypts, this is definitely large intestine. And in the lamina propria, you have a lot of lymph cells, you have plasma cells, you have your connective tissue cells, all right? And these are all for the goblet cells, and they are on either sides of or in between the columnar cells of the colonocytes or the absorptive columnar cells of the large intestine, because your function here is to absorb water and vitamin K, and this is why you have your large intestine. And remember that you have so many of these purple colored lymphatic nodules because this is the large intestine, and you're moving out of the GIT now. Now, at the anorectal junction, you have a change in the lining epithelium from the simple columnar epithelium with all your colonic glands, okay, with these glands lining your crypts, all right, into stratified squamous epithelium. Remember that idea, we had it in the gastroesophageal junction. It was also stratified squamous epithelium, and it was moving from there into the stomach with a simple columnar epithelium. And of course, here the epithelium is different than the stomach because we have a lot of goblet cells on either side, and we have so many white circles. We also have a lot of muscles, skeletal muscles, which is actually was internal anal sphincter at this point at the colorectal zone, and then we had an abrupt change at the transitional zone that took me from only internal anal sphincter into having external anal sphincter at the skin part, which is the stratified squamous epithelium part. Okay, so these are the three zones of the anal canal. From that, muscles, so many these muscles in the outer layers, with knowing that you have goblet cells here, you have the stratified squamous epithelium here, you have a lot of lymphatic nodules, you will know that this is a rectoanal junction, not gastroesophageal junction. This is a histological picture in the appendix. It looks like the colon, but in the epithelium itself, it looks like the colon. If we have a high magnification of the appendix, you guys will see the absorptive cells, and you will see the goblet cells because the lining epithelium looks like the colon. But if you look at the submucosa, it will look like the ileum. And of course, you know that the ileum, it has villi because it's a small intestine. So this is how you will differentiate between the appendix and the ileum. All right, and this is another real histological picture. If you look at the epithelium itself, it will look like the colon, and then you have so many lymphatic nodules, the aggregation of lymphatic cells with the germinal centers, and these are the active parts of the lymphatic nodules. And if you look at the epithelium itself with these crypts, and the gastric glands themselves, sorry, gastric what? The glands themselves, same as the colonic glands in the colon. You will find that the epithelium is exactly like the colon. It means this is part of my colon, the appendix. But I have lymphatic nodules. It means this is appendix. All right. So it looks like the ileum, looks like the colon, and at the end, that's gonna be the appendix. Okay, sharing the same epithelial lining of the large intestine and the same appearance of the lymphatic nodules in the ileum. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you now know how to identify and differentiate between different parts of the GIT, and see you in the next video.